Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone's feeling well. And Julie told me last week sometime that she thought it would be a good idea for the two of us to go along to the doctor. I don't know what she was doing, like getting her vital measurements taken or something like this, you know, the usual kind of stuff, body mass index, blood pressure, that kind of thing. But she wanted me to go because of the type of work I do out in the garden and things like this, messing around in the dirt. There's always this tetanus, right? Which I've done a bit of reading about it. Well, I already knew this anyway. It's a bacteria that's commonly found in soil. It's also colloquially known as lockjaw because what it does is it kind of, I don't exactly know how, but this bacteria grows in your body and it causes your jaw to lock up and then other muscles and your whole body can go rigid. And it used to kill a lot of people. So in my line of work, there's always people talking about tetanus, especially if you get cut by rusty metal. But I've been cut by loads of bits of rusty metal, loads of bits of glass. I've got dirt in my wounds so many times over the years. I've lived in dirty conditions as well for the past 2 years in the woods there, and nothing untoward ever happened to me. But you know, what with the state of things in the world at the moment as they are, and you know what I'm kind of alluding to. Obviously, hopefully, at least, everyone is thinking about viruses and thinking about vaccination, and they say there's not a debate, okay?
We haven't talked about the vaccine debate here on SciShow because there is no debate to have.
A lot of people, you'll hear them, mainstream commentators, mouthpieces, spokespersons, they say there's no debate about the safety and the efficacy of vaccines. And I'm going to break this down quite a bit more in a forthcoming video. It's going to be one of the next few videos that I bring out soon after this one. But just for now, I'm just telling this particular story, okay? So this doctor, obviously we're all wearing masks, can't really see any facial expression. And he's saying, okay, so yeah, you know, the protocol is I would recommend this DTaP vaccine. And I already know what a DTaP vaccine is because like I say, I'll do my research. And there's certainly no way I'm going to be letting anyone inject things into me if I haven't looked up at least what the hell they are. So DTaP, what does that stand for? It's obviously an acronym, and it's diphtheria, tetanus, something beginning with A, and pertussis. Now, I've never heard of pertussis, and I don't think I need to be vaccinated against that, but I do accept that tetanus is a legitimate risk doing my kind of work. So, you know, I said to him, you can't just do tetanus on its own, can you? You don't have to do all of them together. And he's like, no, you got to take all 4 together for some reason. And I've looked it up. This is just how they like to do it. The pharmaceuticals manufacturers, they like to pack all these things together for some reason, give them to you all in one big dose. That's not exactly filling me with confidence. But you know, I'm open to it. So I said to Julie, look, I'm going to have to go and read up on this because I'm not just going to put anything in just for the hell of it, just because I'm told it's safe and I'm told it's effective. And what we tend to find with a lot of these big questions, for some people they're big questions, some people like myself, and for other people they're just complete non-questions. Like, how can you even question that? It's been established for decades, centuries, millennia. It's just it's a truism. Why are you just questioning everything? And there's a common thread in all of these ideas that for the vast majority of the population are not up for debate, but for people like me, they are up for debate, and they definitely do need to be debated. And that is that underlying all of these ideas, there's always a model, a conceptual understanding of how things are. And then from that model, they extrapolate how things must be and how things should be done. And so if we take the normal interpretation of how this works, the understanding we've been given of how pathogens is the generalized term, bacteria and viruses cause disease in the body, and how we combat that with medicine and with vaccines. To look at it from that perspective, which I do understand, I think I understand as well as anybody, despite being one of those minority who actually question it. With that understanding as my basis for making sense of this, What we're doing is we're introducing a weakened form of that thing that we're intending to protect ourselves from to the body, so that the immune system can prepare a natural response. That's critical to understanding this. We're trying to elicit a response from the body's naturally occurring defense system, okay? So the vaccine itself isn't really protecting you. It's not even like medicine where it's sort of going in and it's actively suppressing a set of symptoms. And it's certainly not healing, okay? The immune system is doing all the work here. The vaccine is just stimulating that immune system. And assuming the model that the understanding is built on is correct, then theoretically this would be a logical way to go about it. But my thinking is this. They say that you require a booster shot every 5 to 10 years to kind of re-prepare, re-prime your immune system to deal with, you know, an influx of the real thing, an attack of the real thing. This is my question to anybody watching out there. What if you're in a dirty environment, you're coming into contact with rusty metal and rubbish and dirt? You are, statistically speaking, invariably going to be coming into contact with real life tetanus, the real deal, the actual full strength, live, natural version of tetanus causing bacteria. Periodically anyway. And because of the kind of work I've done for the past 20 years, and because of where I lived in the woods for 2 years, I've been exposed to this dirt, and I've had so many cuts on my skin. Every time I've crashed my bicycle, you know, I get scuffs and scrapes, and surely I will have been encountering this tetanus bacteria. And my natural immune system will have encountered that bacteria and strengthened itself and defended itself. So try and debunk me if you can, but I'm working here on the mainstream theory, the mainstream understanding of how viruses and bacteria and vaccines operate. If you work in an office and you disinfect your hands 3 times a day, which is pretty normal now. It's normal now that we think there's coronavirus everywhere. If you work in an office and you never come into contact with dirt, and you just, you know, you travel around in a car and all this kind of stuff, then maybe you might benefit from a vaccine against something like this. But if you encounter it naturally in the environment, periodically, all the time, your body's going to be protected against it. And that's my understanding based on the mainstream model that doctors are following, that the people who invent and create vaccines are following. So for my money, I don't need to be vaccinated against tetanus or any number of other diseases that are in the environment. I have a natural immunity to these things because I'm exposing myself to them. I don't live in a bubble. I don't wrap myself in cotton wool. And therefore I don't need my immunity artificially stimulated in this way. Do you see my logic? Do you see my reasoning? Do you see where I'm coming from with this? I hope I've managed to explain it correctly in this video. That's what I'm going to say to Julie, and I know Julie will understand me because she's intelligent. I mean, one day we're going to have kids together and we're going to have this conversation, and we're going to have to decide whether or not to vaccinate at all and how much to vaccinate and which vaccines actually work. There are many different types of vaccine, as I understand, and so far from what I've read, which is very little, it seems like bacteria is not a theory, but viruses are a theory. The way that viruses operate is theoretical. Okay, it's a bit of a head scratcher but only because there's just so much information to overturn. It's so much programming to overturn. But I've overturned much bigger ideas. I've overturned much bigger belief systems in my head than simply how viruses operate and how illness operates. So, you know, for me, not too much of a stretch of the imagination, but just rest assured, they say there's no debate, which is a deliberate attempt to polarize the debate. Okay, so the vast majority of people go in the direction of, yes, this is safe, I will not question this. And then what you get is this, like a marginalized group who are going completely the other way. And that polarization is a deliberate technique, I believe. And like I say, I'm working on a script for another video where I'm going to go into the subject a little bit more, because there's something here, and I think it's important. And you know, every one of these little subjects that we that we dive into and find that actually we've been lied to, we have been deliberately lied to. It just helps you get a bit of perspective. So please try and debunk my reasoning here if you can, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for further videos on this topic and others.